to its safe haven status. I liked this tweet because here's another thing, guys. Do you guys remember Doge? Anyone remember Doge? It feels like it's been a decade. It's only been about a week. During all this wartime, all these missiles being shot, all these bombs being dropped, have you seen anyone question, whoa, what's our defense budget on that? Whoa. I don't like how much that plane costs that had to fly over and destroy Iran's nuclear program. Never once did I hear that. Never once. We spent all that wasted time listening to Elon about how he was going to save our budget, run the US like a startup, and we were going to cut defense spending. We were going to cut all this spending. And it's get out of here, Elon. And now it's time to actually drop a bomb on someone. Guys, I didn't see one American headed in a non-threatening direction. I am pleased to report that no Americans were harmed and hardly any damage was done. Most importantly, they've gotten it all out of their system. I mean, this guy's talking about another country like they're a toddler. They've gotten it all out of their system, and there will hopefully be no further hate. I want to thank Iran for giving us early notice, which made it possible for no lives to be lost and nobody to be injured. Perhaps Iran can now proceed to peace and harmony in the region, and I will enthusiastically encourage Israel to do the same. Thank you for your attention on this matter. And he followed up, this guy's laugh out loud funny. Congratulations, world. It's time for peace. He had just dropped a bomb on somebody. Just so funny. So anyways, the point of this that I wanted to bring up is right here. So we had talked about, did gold catch a wartime bid, and was that going to unravel? Today, gold is down on the day. Was Bitcoin capped because of start negotiating or start dropping bombs on each other? The market started to price that in. So you can watch, this is the oil chart. Oil price surged 5% at market open after the U.S. strikes. U.S. anticipates Iranian attack. So you can see it wane and fall. And then boom, another spike because it was unclear if Iran was going to retaliate. And then when we heard what the retaliation was and the fact that it was kind of like a fake phony, told you we'd get you back, but we really didn't, oil prices drop. And so this is, guys, prices are what you guys should know about financial markets, just markets in general. Price is information. All a price is information. How much is this thing worth to the rest of the world? When you look at financial markets like this is telling you information. This is the world trying to figure out what is going on when it comes to war, geopolitical tensions, the West versus the East, et cetera, et cetera. Now, I just walked you through that, and I want to pull up Bitcoin. The coolest thing, Bitcoin to the hands of all of us, to where it is a 24/7 peer-to-peer marketplace where we can all collectively express how we feel about the world, about time, energy, the future. And so when you watch Bitcoin fall, is it risk on? Is it risk off? I actually think that stuff is less interesting. I understand why people want to ask me questions on it and stuff, and I get it. It's correlation to the S&P 500. But to me, watching Bitcoin sell off, so I was in a meeting this morning. So it's fascinating. I was in a meeting this morning, and I go, oh no, Iran retaliated. So how do you know? Bitcoin's at 99. I knew because Bitcoin knew first. Bitcoin's at 99. By the end of the meeting, I say, oh, everything must be fine. Prices are information. Remember that. A price is information. It's data. It's telling you something. Bitcoin tells you the most. It is a utility for this asset class that the world is picking up on. The world is picking up on this. If you want liquidity on a Sunday night because Trump is going to drop a bomb, there's only one asset that gives you the liquidity and the global access and access to truth, and that is Bitcoin. Okay, on the back half of all of this, I thought this was pretty eye-opening. This is gasoline prices. So you can see gasoline prices are beginning to spike here going into July. If these prices remain, this will be seen in the CPI. Why is this super relevant? This is very relevant because a weakening dollar is highly inflationary, right? Rotating to a neutral reserve asset, highly inflationary. We've talked about this on the show. Bringing manufacturing back to the US and bringing it back to domestic production and being an exporter again, highly inflationary. Tariffs, in many instances, highly inflationary. How does Trump plan to combat that level of inflation? Well, this tweet tells us a lot. He plans to try and artificially cap the price of energy. Another thing, in markets, there's no such thing as everyone wins. For every winner, there's a loser. For every sat you stacked, someone had to sell it to you, right? And so Trump also tells us who one of the losers, one of the losers is the oil producers, those in the energy sector, right? You guys, listen, inflation and the dollar stability, he's going to hurt domestic producers. Domestic producers are going to, if you're going to put a lot of price pressure on oil, then those locally here in America, that's not good. You imagine if someone was artificially suppressing the price of Bitcoin, how would Bitcoin miners feel about that? They'd be under a lot of stress, wouldn't they? So I don't know. You can't simultaneously want to be energy independent and suppress energy prices. I'll end it with that. Does that make sense? It's constant. We want to be energy independent. We want to be energy independent. And so it's interesting. It's like, don't judge a man on his words, judge a man on his actions. So we'll see. But on the back half of all of this, a lot of volatility in oil, and to see something that almost is going to impact CPI, which we know how Trump feels about that. He does not want rates to remain this high, to come out and point a finger at the enemy.
Never reappointed him. Biden reappointed him. I don't know why that is, but I guess maybe he was a Democrat. I got great advice from Mnuchin on this one. Great advice. But he's done a poor job. So we have no inflation. We have only success. And I'd like to see interest rates get down. Now, Biden did a lot of very short-term debt. So we have short-term debt coming due. And because of this guy's rates, if he'd lowered a point, I'd pay about a point less. Then if he'd lowered 2 points, I'd pay about 2 points less. And that's for 10 years, 12 years, 15 years, 5 years. It's hundreds of billions. It's even trillions of dollars that we're going to lose because of this too late. I call him Too Late Powell because he's always too late. I mean, if you look at him, every time I did this,
out loud, which is I need rates to come down. Let me phrase it differently in layman's terms. I need the cost of money to come down because I'm in too much debt and I don't know how to pay for it. Think about that. The president of the United States is saying, I need the cost of money to come down, implying future inflation, implying like the things that we all work for. You get up, you get out of bed. Everyone's had that alarm clock that they wish they can hit snooze, but you can't. You get up and you commute to work and you work your ass off and you come home and your kids want shit and your wife hadn't made dinner and you just are grinding for a future. And he wants to lower the cost of money, debase the currency because of the debt. Personal responsibility is a difficult but good thing. And so to see central banks and sovereigns going back to self-custody, and it's because they're losing faith in the establishment, which, by the way, is the way it should be. This is the Triffin's dilemma. No country and no currency should be responsible for upholding the global financial system. Us humans have been and should continue to be governed by the immutable laws of Mother Nature, not by some unelected or self-appointed bank. Let Mother Nature govern us. Gold is governed by Mother Nature because it's a natural element that we found in the ground. Bitcoin is governed by Mother Nature because of proof of work. So let our time, energy aside and see a blip in the sky that says the world is changing. Hurry up, go buy Bitcoin. That's not going to happen. It's going to happen at the margins every single day. Every single day. And then one day you'll wake up and Bitcoin will be $1 million a coin. Gold will be 80% of central bank reserves. China's global trade surplus will be neutralized because neutral reserve assets will be accurately priced. And you'll be like, what the hell? I was listening to Jack's show this whole time. I didn't know that it was happening. I'm telling you right now, it is happening. How many FT articles, how many Bloomberg articles, how many Trump interviews, how many price charts do I have to show you guys? It's happening. It's happening. And the funny part is at the bottom here, what we've been saying on this show, Bloomberg thinks it's a bad thing that the dollar is going down. But we've been saying this is part of the plan the whole time. Peak, defining the most significant bear market in Wall Street's history. The market would not return to its 1929 high until 1954. The Great Depression. So the stock market down 89%. And people say, but Jack, the stock market has not been down that much in recent memory. But Jack, the stock market keeps going up. Aha, but listen. And this is an idea pointed out by Luke Groman. In 1929, the dollar was backed by gold. So the stock market was down 89% in gold terms. That's why it was a real depression. You see? Let me show you. From 2000 to 2011.
Apply to banks like JP Morgan, Goldman, and
that could be an interlocutor that potentially when the president says there's an ultimatum where either you make that decision or we're going to make it for you. I think what comes out of this meeting could be very telling on where the president's thinking is right now.
yeah, who wants to be the mediator? It seems like everyone's kind of raising their hands. Meanwhile, this story would be getting a lot more attention if it weren't for what's going on in the Middle East. U.S. bank regulators planning to lower capital requirements for the country's biggest lenders. Sources telling us here at Bloomberg, they plan to cut the enhanced supplementary leverage ratio and will apply to banks like JP Morgan, Goldman, and Morgan Stanley. Julian Emmanuel is nodding his head along. And I have to say, this was possibly the reason why we saw a real rally into the long end of the Treasury curve yesterday, as people speculate that maybe this would open the door to banks owning more Treasuries.
Well, I go back to March and April when we were getting questions multiple times a day from clients saying, does the Trump administration actually not?
We're watching things like people used to tell me, yeah, they're going to implement yield curve control, change the rules for banks because the 10-year is a piece of shit. Who are you? Some 30-year-old in a baseball cap? That'll never happen. Oh, but now no, it probably won't because I asked my boss, but it might. Because they're saying the quiet part out loud. Wow. And that's where everything changes. Because it goes from, it probably won't, but it could, to, oh, it did yesterday, like that. So the change you should always be looking for is it'll never happen to, well, now the analysts on Bloomberg said it might. Now the FT keeps saying central banks are losing trust in the United States. Now the head of the PBOC saying we're entering a multipolar currency world. Which, what does that mean? What other currencies? No, you're missing the point. It doesn't fucking matter. The point is, the world we're in.
Like, subscribe, and turn on notifications. Support the channel by liking this video, subscribing, and enabling post notifications for more content on crypto and digital assets. Check out our other videos and share your thoughts in the comments below. Your engagement helps with the YouTube algorithm and keeps the content coming. Thanks for your support. Enjoy the video.